David?
Yeah?
What are you doing?
I'm doing the snake camp.
Don't do that. Give it to me.
Sorry.
So, we watched a movie today.
Snake Island.
Yeah.
Snake Island.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
That's
Roll
it.
credits.
Yeah, that's... Oh my God.
There's nothing that happens in this movie. Now, if any of you have seen the wonderful little cult film with Sam Elliott called Frogs, same fucking movie, just with snakes. This is the thing about this movie, though. The first half hour of it, nothing happens.
Okay, well...
Nothing.
Something happened.
Nothing really happens.
Okay, well, let's go over, like, a little plot, okay?
Just like in Frogs. A lot of stock footage and unnecessary cutaways of snakes, by the way.
Alright, so...
Alright. Well, first, just at least the opening credit bit. One, you don't see any snakes in, like, the first 7 minutes of the movie.
No. I want to stop you right there. You just reminded me. There was that scene...
At the very beginning.
Before the title. What?
I mean...
Was that the previous owners? We'll get to it.
I guess so. Like,
okay.
I'm not sure. Alright.
Okay. So,
coherency.
I guess overall synopsis, really huge, broad synopsis here. A group of tourists go onto an island called Snake Island. Big shocker there. That's inhabited by snakes. Again, big shocker.
It's like people are always so like weird out. Oh my God, a snake! You're on Snake Island.
Yeah. And the snakes are trying to kill them.
You think you're gonna run into pumas? I mean, like seriously.
Well, the island had a lot of wildlife.
They did have a lot of wildlife. There's actually this one section where they were driving in a truck and they're showing all the animals. And that was the most interesting part of the movie to me. I'm like, oh, well, that's an interesting animal. There's an elephant. It was like you're talking about. I was like, I didn't know that. According to this movie, that younger elephants don't have sex and whatnot. It's reserved to the older ones. I don't know if that was just innuendo in and of it itself, just for the character, or or if it's a legitimate piece of information. I don't know. But if it was still interesting anyway. That was the only bit that actually had any interest to me. Also, I felt the urge to try some snake meat because there was a handful of times where they were cooking snakes. So I've had snake before. It's not bad.
Should I just sit here in silence while you
go on?
Alright, so basically all you need to know that happens is they're cruising down an island and then these guys need to deliver something to Snake Island, but the snake got on the boat somehow and they start attacking it and they break the boat and now everyone's stranded on the island for at least like 12 hours minimum.
I think it's 2, because they think Lloyd has gone.
Oh, yeah.
To the other boat.
Lloyd's gone. So then they go investigate and looking, hey, where did Lloyd go? Where did these guys go? They're dead.
They die off screen.
They're all dead.
And what, they're... Oh, yeah, the first off-screen death that we are, privy to was the guy in the bed. One...
Okay, he's lying in bed. And he's dead. But of course,
just picture this.
To make it dramatic, to make it the big reveal moment that he's dead, he's covered up with a blanket on top, like covering his face.
They do the fake out crap.
Yeah. Matt pointed out. You go ahead. Say it.
When they pull the blanket away, he's laying there, and all of a sudden he does this. Bah. And a snake falls out of his mouth. Alright, 1, that's a complete and total ripoff of fucking Sleepaway Camp, but 2...
Why would it have happened?
Yeah, because also when they leave the room, Lloyd falls out from behind the closet. So how long was he propped up there by a fucking snake?
Every snake on this island has superhuman strength. Super snake strength.
Yeah.
Everybody's being held up by them.
And also, I guarantee that half the snakes that are shown in this movie are not actually poisonous. I bet, especially those little tiny green ones and them. I'm like, no, I seriously doubt that. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not, an authority on snakes, obviously. But at the same time, and obviously, like, I know what Black Mama's what I look like, but still at the same time, I don't buy.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. Okay.
I guess continuing on the plot, almost? Or you...
Yeah.
They have to spend the night on the island.
There's a handful of jump scares and whatnot,
well,
which are not even really jump scares. Like, there's a snake by your foot!
The entire group spends the night at this Snake Island Lounge. This lodge.
Resort area.
Lodge, that's what it was.
Yeah, lodge.
Snake Island Lodge. And so, while there, they're attacked by snakes. Oh my god. But every...
Big shocker.
There are two things that I really need to go over here. First one is happening throughout the entire movie. Whenever a snake is on screen, whenever it switches to a shot of a snake, they play a jump scare chord. Every time. And it is the funniest thing for the first 20 minutes. And then it just starts getting annoying.
Really annoying.
Very quickly.
And it lasts the whole fucking movie.
Oh.
Now, when you get to the 45-minute mark...
Wait, what are you talking about?
Hold on.
Okay.
This is after their little journey, their little four-way out and whatnot on their little animal expedition. They run into a snake, which causes a branch to go through the radiator in the car.
Don't ask how it happened.
Well, like, they ran off the road. And to be honest, actually, that's a legitimate thing.
Mm-hmm.
But this is when it stops being at all legitimate when it comes to this shit. Because this is when they start partying.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, hold on. Before you get to that. The snakes are after the people. Yeah. It's not, look, there is this intruder on our land.
So let's fucking kill these humans.
That's
the attitude.
They're like, oh, look at that. There's a nice foot there. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna attack that foot. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, and I love how
then,
one of the characters said is like, snakes are just cowards, and the snake reacted like it was fucking offended.
Hold up now. That foot looked mighty tasty, but you just called me a coward, and I don't like that.
And then the black chick puts in the music.
Okay, I think her name was Ronnie, but
no. Oh yeah, no, I don't know.
No, I think her name
was it
vaguely Ronnie. Sounds correct.
Well, I know Ronnie was a character, but I think Ronnie was actually the black guy on the boat that came and got him.
That was
Oh,
yeah.
Like yeah, it was Ronnie. It was Ronnie. Yeah. Or at least I hope it is. If we're wrong about this, I'm sorry, because the characters in
Nobody's
so fucking they're so fucking forgettable. Everyone. Even the director plays like one of the main characters.
Guess who lives? Anyway, tell what happens when she puts in the music.
She starts dancing.
And
then she starts stripping for no reason. Now, the funny thing is, when we were watching it, I'm like, they're going to show tits.
No, they aren't.
They're going to show tits.
No,
she takes off her shirt.
No.
I'm like, oh, they're going there.
No, they're going to keep her
They're
away
going
from the
there. Bra comes off.
They're not going to show them.
No, she's going like this and what. I'm like,
Nope.
oh, no, they're still my shirt. And then, bam! I'm like, and not 10 seconds after that, the blonde chick comes over and starts stripping too. So I'm like, really? You waited 45 minutes to show us any type of smut, and now you're just compounding it. One of the couples is about the newlywed couple is about ready to fuck. One of the couples who's the main director and one of the other characters are skinny dipping, and like seriously, like they compound this so quickly. I'm like, this is what happens in the first half of the movie. You're supposed to stretch it out.
You didn't mention the best part.
No, you go ahead.
She put in the music, and they started dancing.
This is where I can't take the movie at all seriously after this point.
And
if I could beforehand.
One of the snakes was watching them because it was gonna attack.
It wasn't the only time this happened, though.
But then, when it saw the girls dancing, it started dancing too.
No, mind you.
Ah!
It was just them reversing the footage and whatnot back and forth, so it was really a cheap editing trick. Half the snakes in this movie I definitely think real.
No.
Or a third.
I think all of them are real. But 95% of them were just green screened in there.
In the latter half of the movie, that was definitely the case. I do think that a couple times they did have some really, like the first snake on the boat, like that actually looked like a legitimate snake.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So, like, you know, I'm certain that they had legitimate snakes, because I remember when they made frogs, they had real frog snakes and, like, lizards and shit like that. They had, like, 1,000, like, of these, like, frogs and shit like that they had to use. But in this movie, yeah, I'm definitely sure that some real snakes were used. But at the same time, yeah. The CGI, the green screening in this movie is appalling.
Now, see, that's where I'm gonna...
It's not as bad as Birdemic.
Yes. It's not as bad as half the films that we've done.
True.
This is, when it comes down
but then again, Fading of the Cries had much better CGI compared to this.
It did, but at the same time, it was so much more noticeable.
Assault Girls had much better CGI than this. And that one was entirely green screen.
When it came to Assault Girls, and it came to Fading of the Cries, both those films relied so massively on green screen that they had to make it look decent.
That is true.
This was using it simply because they couldn't have the snakes, at least either that many or the dangerous ones near the actors.
Yeah.
They needed it virtually to get the plot going. And I can forgive them for that if it was a good plot. But it's not a good plot. It's a boring plot.
Boring as
It's
fuck,
a really boring plot. Like we said, 45 minutes in, and then the dancing and the smut and all that stuff happen. That's also when the first kill happens. 45 minutes in.
Now, I don't count the before the credits death because that's a prologue. That's a prologue death. So
we didn't know that guy. We still don't know that guy.
And actually, the funny thing is, 3 of the deaths that occur, well, including the guy in the prologue and whatnot, that's 4. 4 of the deaths occur happen from characters that either are killed off screen, like Lloyd and whatnot, like those are 2 of them. Oh, yeah. Then the guy in the prologue, and then the kid on the boat. Yeah. Like, the kid on the boat had a grand total of how much? 4 minutes screen time before he got it. There was no reason for him to get killed.
He didn't have 4 minutes screen time. He was introduced
and then he was killed 4 minutes later.
They cut to other scenes in the meantime.
Oh god, it was so stupid. It was so stupid.
Oh my god. Okay, so...
It was so stupid.
From there, I know I had somewhere to go. Oh!
I will say one thing, though, before you continue, though. Yeah. The director actually isn't a horrible actor. No. He actually is probably the best male actor in the movie. Except, I did like... What?
He's the writer, too.
What?
Director, writer,
he wrote it, too.
Yeah.
Oh, god, that explains it. That explains why he had that skinny dipping scene. But also, well, actually, the funny thing is, all 3 of those characters were the ones that weren't having sex.
Yeah.
The woman tried.
All right, here's what you need to really... Everybody knows, at least if you're well-versed enough...
Slasher film 101.
Yeah, that's essentially what
no sex. You can't have sex if you want to survive a slasher film. Now, this is a nature revenge movie. The same rules don't apply. But the problem is this. It operates on the same fucking rules as a slasher movie.
All the camera angles are from the perspective, whether it's actually there or not, of the killer.
You know the POV shots from Halloween? The ones that made the movie really kind of creepy, especially since you knew, like, Michael Myers... 1, he never showed his face, but 2, at the same time, like, you don't even see the white mask until later on in the film.
Like the snake cam from the opening? That's where we got it from. That opening. They used that so much.
Over, at least, like...
So much.
Probably. Like what? Like a 4th, maybe to, like, a 3rd of the shots.
Half of the shots are of snakes with scare cords. A 4th of the shots are...
POV from snakes.
Shots. And the rest of it's just there.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just... It's not like The Evil Dead, where you have like, the really, like, rushing camera to, like, represent the Deadites and stuff like that. No, this doesn't work the same way. These are fucking snakes! They're fucking snakes! Yeah. And also the thing is, snakes can be scary. Yeah. Like, they can be. Like, snakes can be fucking terrifying. Like, actually, to be honest, when I was younger, when I first saw the movie Anaconda, I was fucking terrified of it. Because, for all the faults that movie has, and it definitely has a lot of faults, it is not a really good movie, but it's got its moments. It was kind of scary, especially toward the end when the snake swallows the whole guy.
What movie are we reviewing here, Matt?
But, this movie approaches the lethality, the danger, the scary aspects of snakes from a completely limp point of view. It's always from afar, too, and the stock footage is so fucking obvious, too.
That's the best way to point out. All the snakes are, while they're played as these killers, they are wanting to reclaim their homeland from the humans, or whatever the heck was the main storyline. They aren't scary. They're dropping down from trees. They're swimming in the water. They're not in the shadows, ready to pounce at any moment. None of them do that. Well, okay, a few of them do that. And those are the successful ones. Those are the ones that end up biting the people.
And, like, there's no overall big-ass snake to culminate. It's just tons of snakes.
You want to really, like, you want to point your finger at a snake and say, that's the main snake.
I actually thought one of the things that was going to be the main snake is when the girl finally laid down her head on the pillow and it was in the snake. And when he opened its mouth, like, it was, like, dripping out. Like, that was actually a pretty decent shot. Because it looked like it opened its mouth and the venom was just pouring out of it and whatnot. And then, of course, she screams and then you cut away and you cut back and all of a sudden she's beating, like, it over the head with a fucking, like, lamp or something.
That's something we should mention. Characters aren't smart.
None of these characters are smart.
Every character, as we said, they break slasher movies 101 rules, but at the same time, they break just common sense rules. There's a snake in the pillow. It cannot see you. It is moving around and you know it's in there.
Oh,
what do? Stay perfectly still and don't leave the bed.
Wait until it shows its face, and then you'll scream and try to move quickly, and then it'll, because snakes are just one fucking muscle, will beat you to the punch.
Yeah. There are many moments like, oh my god, there's a honeymooning couple.
Oh, by the way, like, when it comes down to the deaths, they happen very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
They happen in extremely quick succession, and then the last three characters that remain in the film, we spend, like, the last 25 minutes.
Okay, you cut me off earlier.
Oh, sorry, yeah, go for it.
At the 45-minute mark, the first death occurs. Okay? Okay? Now, out of the main group, because the guy on the boat came along later, I'm not counting him, but out of the main group, all of them are dead not 20 minutes later.
Yeah. All of them out. All the expendable people. Oh, yeah, and the girl again, Ronnie, she does another nude scene. She has a shower scene.
She's breaking 3 rules.
See, this reminds me of the Pablo Francisco joke. He's like, it's all about the Friday the 13th movies. He's like, Billy! I'm gonna get naked and take a shower. What's going on? I mean, seriously. I mean, like, I can't complain. She's got a decent body, but at the same time, especially with certain aspects, when the water stopped flowing, she unscrewed it, and like we were expecting a snake to pop out, but then it was just water.
Because the directors knew we'd be expecting that.
Yeah, but at the same time, then it pissed us off that they didn't do that. I was like, oh, so it's just another worthless jump scare.
So then she's just laying on the.
And then they do snake cam. They do snake cam up to the back of her, and then it's not actually a snake.
Yeah. That's why we were so pissed off at it. Sometimes the snake cam, they turn around, it's like, oh my god, there's a fucking snake there. And then sometimes they do the snake cam, turn around, and then it's just the camera.
It was basically a flip of a coin every single time it happened.
Yeah.
But
you'll notice a lot of our complaints here are about snakes. It's because they're all that's there.
Yeah, there's no, like...
There's no character, there's no plot, there's no...
And they do actually start trying to build the characters 45 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, everybody, how they reacted on the boat with that one snake at first, I knew without a doubt, all the people that were going to end up dying.
Yes.
And whatnot, because they were all the ones that freaked out. Now, I was happy when the douchebag honeymoon husband died, because all he did was film shit. He had this goofy-ass expression on his face.
They killed like what was it? A mamba or something like that. It was some massive snake.
Yeah, it was huge.
And
it was huge.
Smashing it in the head. He holds up the bloody pulp of it. And the guy...
Oh, and there's the guy, Eddie, who's the hunter.
Yeah, the hunter's the one who killed it. And then the honeymooning couple guy's like, hey, you think I could take that as a souvenir? We wish.
And actually, I like how Eddie responded. Is like, no, you can buy a skin from the gift shop. And I'm like... For some reason, he reminds me of... I think he kind of reminds me of fucking Jake Busey from...
You love your Jake Busey.
No, but the way that he... From Jake Busey from Nazis of the Center of the Earth, like the way that he behaves, I'm like... This guy kind of is like a really douchey version of a Busey.
Yeah. Anyway, the honeymooning couple, they get killed because a snake stuck into their bedroom, like everybody else who dies in the lodge.
There's two that, and also
the guy dies, and then they're about to consummate their marriage, and so the snake starts popping up through the blanket as the wife enters. It's like, wow, honey. I was like, you're really going that route.
And then it just keeps getting taller and taller. I was like, wow.
Until the blanket falls off.
That is big. That's what she said. That is big.
Big.
And then it falls off, and then he's like, oh. And then when she turns around, there's apparently this giant snake that kills her.
Like a python.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, when they open the door again and they discover her, they realize, like, the snake is, like, that big around. I'm like, I'm sorry.
No one would.
Like, I don't think there are any poisonous snakes that are that big. That is a fucking python.
Even if it wasn't poisonous, let's say that it did strangle her and all that.
It would have been eating her by that.
Here's the thing. It was, like, crouched down off of her dresser, okay?
Yeah.
If she walked into the room, which we saw her do, you would have seen a snake that big. It's not something that just passes by.
It's kind of hard to miss this shit.
It's like...
All these characters were stupid. All these characters were stupid.
Every single one. It's really... Okay, we're running out of time, so let's just run through the other stuff. Camera angles and shots and stuff.
Say too much of the same shit. No innovation whatsoever.
Yeah, I'd basically say the same. Like we said, camera of the snake cam, that was annoying. But when it came to stuff that wasn't the snake cam, it was just bland.
It was basic.
Normal stuff.
It really wasn't. I mean... And they had some moments where the characters were interesting and whatnot. Like, to be honest, if Eddie the hunter had lasted a lot longer, I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah, you wanted someone to hunt the snakes.
And not even just that. Like, he was also like, I was expecting him to turn into like the fucking the Bruce Campbell character. Like, he loads up on the guns and shit. Like, he's like, all right, we're gonna take these fucking snakes out. But no, he's the first goddamn death.
Yeah, and he's drunk when he does it too. He gets no.
And he just
dignified
like he just gets bitten and he lets it happen until he finally realizes it's happening. No.
He gets bitten and then he stands up and goes.
And the music's still playing, so it's going to the music. It's like.
You need to watch it. It's funny.
That's like one of the parts. That's like one of the only. I feel like we should turn that into a GIF. Like you were saying, it's like that's like one of the only parts of the movie that's actually entertaining.
Okay.
Script. And it happened during the tits.
Script.
Like some nature facts thrown in with no understanding of
basic plot pacing.
Oh yeah, and there was a dream sequence where the snake fucking talks to the girl, and he calls her a bitch. And the funny thing is, David and me, for the rest of the movie, whenever she did something stupid, we kept calling her a bitch. Because I'm like, you're just proving the snake right. That's not a good thing.
I like how when she woke up, she told the guy. So he's like, he called me a bitch. And I'm pretty sure he didn't say, you're not a bitch. I'm pretty sure he just stood there and went.
He's like,
yeah.
Just a little bit.
Alright.
Acting.
They
weren't awful.
No.
I mean, there was a couple performances like, but like for the most part, they were pretty stock standard. I mean, they're better than most asylum actors.
Yeah, it's a terrible script. You weren't going to get much out of it anyway.
Yeah.
They did what they could. I'm not sure. Like I said, I was really surprised the director/writer was also a good actor.
Well, if they actually went like a supernatural route, maybe it would have been something interesting. But I mean, it would have been stupid as fuck, but it would have been interestingly stupid.
Yeah.
This movie was just boringly stupid.
Did you know that snakes are the only animals that can play dead?
Oh yeah, that was never
never brought up. They said that. or something like it.
And the first and whatnot, they were like, it was like slowly cover your eyes, and they can spit venom accurately up to 10 feet. Yeah,
We're 6 feet
We're
away.
6 feet away. And then the thing is, like, that was an actual bit of tense moment. I'm like, real facts, or at least the appearance of real facts, and also the fact that both of them seemed to know what they were doing. And then later on in the movie, the director, who's like one of the main actors and whatnot, appears to know nothing about snakes.
Yeah.
There's no consistency in the characters at all. I mean, it would have been really interesting if the hunter and the guy who's the survival guy, because he got the hunter into this in the first place.
If they live.
If not only if they lived, but also at the same time, like, they had all the knowledge. They had all this, like, they knew what kind of snakes they were going up against. They didn't just go around and whack them on the heads with a fucking cricket paddle. I mean, like they would have actually, like, done things really cool. You actually could have turned this into a pretty fun B movie. It had the makings for it, but it just doesn't work. They went the frogs route, which is extremely boring and plotting.
Okay, so final thoughts. What do you got? Would you recommend or whatever?
I can't recommend a movie that I barely remember.
I'll give you that. I'm gonna go against that one. I'd say give it a watch if you're like doing some work or something at the same time. When you don't want to give something your full attention, but you need something to do.
Background noise.
Background noise. This is that.
Yeah, this is definitely good background noise. And once in a while, you might look up and see something mildly interesting.
Because that's what really pissed us off was the snake cam. So if you're not looking at the snake cam, then hey,
yeah, actually,
no problem.
Actually, and also, like, you know, some of the scenes were not horrible at all.
No.
The one thing is, though, some scenes, like most scenes, didn't last long enough to give any character development. Oh, and then of course, then they had the safari montage scenes, which had like the really upbeat music, which they ended on the credits for after like this dun 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 moment with a snake looking at them. Oh god, the movie is just so stupid.
But
Fuck snakes.
Just
fuck snakes.
Fuck snakes.
Fuck snakes.
That's it. All right, I think that was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I think it was pretty decent. It was like considering how little we had to work with.
I think we went a bit overboard on
Did
some
we?
of the snake stuff, but
Yeah, it's just that's all the snake crap. That's
sounds like a scarecrow trying to start.
Oh my god!
All the bad boys want some more, it's tricky.